Before printing a worksheet, you'll want to make sure that everything is set up for printing so you don't waste paper and so that the printed copies look neat. If you want headers and footers on the pages, go back and check out our video on headers and footers. Basically, you'll click Insert and then the text options contain header and footer, and you can set up headers and footers. Here we don't have a header, but we do have a footer that contains the file name and path and the page number. That always helps with multiple page documents because it means that we can sort them later on in order. Just going to click back in my worksheet and click on Normal. I'll also generally save my document before printing just in case something goes wrong. You might see these little grey dashed lines on your worksheet when you've done anything towards printing the document. What they are lines that Excel is telling you where the page breaks are going to be. Now these aren't set in concrete and you can alter them, and one of the ways you'll alter them is in the print preview area, which we'll go to now. To print the document, I'll choose File and then Print. The first thing I'll do is set up my printer. So I want to select the printer that I'm using, and that's this HP Color LaserJet. Margins and things can be different from printer to printer, so the first thing to do is to select your printer. I'll click Printer Properties. This is a dialog that is specific to my printer, and your printer will have its own dialog, and it won't look quite like this. But that's fine. What you'll need to do is just have a look through the tabs in your printer properties dialog and see if any of them contain options that you want to set. For me, probably the only option I ever really set is in this finishing area, and I can set my printer to print on both sides, so it does it automatically, and it's done it at the printer end, not via Excel. I'll click OK to exit that dialog. Excel is telling me that this document is going to print on 6 pages, so I can have a little look through and see how it's going to look. And a little bit of a problem here with pages 5 and 6 are just printing with one column on the page. There are a number of ways of sorting this out, and one of them is to show the margins and see if we could adjust the margins at all. These margins are live, so I think I can actually buy back some space, which I just did, by shrinking down the margins so I increase the pages size. So here you can see now we're printing on 4 pages, and that looks a lot better. We could also have switched perhaps into landscape orientation. Sometimes that will reduce the number of pages that you print on, but we're actually doing better here with portrait orientation. The page size is letter, and that's typical in this country. For Europe and Australia and the UK, A4 is more typical, but select the paper size that matches the paper in your printer. Typically you'll print active sheets, but there is an option here to print the entire workbook or just a selection, and we'll see selections in a later video. You can also set the number of copies that you want to print. We'll just print 1. So now that I'm ready to go ahead, I can start printing, and I do that by just simply clicking the Print button. And Excel goes and sends the print job to the printer, and I'm taken back into my document. And when it's all done, I can take my printed version out of the printer.